G'day Bomber fans, the 2023 draft is done and dusted. All of them are done and dusted. The National, the preseason, the rookie. Dodoro has completed his last stint as the boss and honestly he kind of nailed it. Say what you want, but this offseason has been one of our best in a long time. We brought in ready-made players through the trade and free agency window. We nailed our selections at the draft, which is what I'm going to talk about now. So let's get into it, a draft review. I'll quickly go over each selection because I've already talked about them as a whole. Give those videos a watch if you want to see those. And then I'm going to give our team a cheeky grade for the draft, high school style. Also guys, before I start, as many of you should know, I'm going away for a little while. I'm overseas next week, in fact, so this is the last video I will upload while in the country. When I'm gone, I will still be posting regularly, but they're all going to be videos I've already recorded in the last week or so. I've been on a grind, so I won't be as active in the comments. I might be uploading at weird times, and if anything major happens while I'm gone, any major news, I'm not going to be able to cover it until I get back closer to Christmas. But cheers for sticking with me until then. I will see you on the other side. So let's start this video with our draft hand going into the night. We had pick 9, which was set to fall to pick 11 after matched bids. As we know, we traded on the night to move up a pick, which is technically, looking at this, down a pick. It's confusing, I know. We did hold picks 31 and 35 as well. We were set to use pick 1 first rounder and 2 second rounder. It's why I thought we were always going to get a key forward and a halfback flank at both positions we needed. I thought if we missed Nate Caddy, which we looked likely to do until we traded, we would have a go at Archer Reed if available, or Logan Morris, and then the defenders that I've already discussed. There were plenty in this draft that I spoke of. So let's see what we ended up doing. Here are all our draft selections. Pick 10, Nate Caddy. I love it. We traded up the order, got rid of our next pick to get up. In the end, it really didn't matter because we ended up with 2 players worthy of second round picks anyway. Caddy, though, that paved the way for us to be a bit more experimental later in the draft. We didn't need to find a key forward later, which is a hard spot to draft for. Instead, we could solely focus on our general defense, a year which is really prominent in general defenders, which is why we grabbed Loman Lowell with pick 39. It was initially pick 35, but moved down after matched bids, and later on we traded away a future 4th rounder to grab Archie Roberts. Don't ask me how he got this low. He was arguably a top 20 player, but fell down to pick 54. We were keen, so we traded up and snatched him with our last selection of the night. Alright, so I'm going to go through each player super quickly. If you want to see full reviews on each player, I released videos for them the other day. So Nate Caddy, pick 10, undersized key forward. He calls himself a power forward. He's really hard to match up on. Great hands for his size. He's really mobile and quick. Super damaging player. The guy kicked 6 goals from 25 touches in a Coates Talent League game. He has the ability to completely tear games apart and decide them off his own boot. He is brilliant. One of the very best players in the draft. One of the biggest upsides as well. I have said before, he is a top 3 player at his best. Not always at his best. His consistency is the main thing he needs to work on, but the upside is there. He could be a real player by the time he finishes his career. I'm really excited to see him play for us, whether it's through the VFL or in the senior team. He could create real pressure for Jaden Hunter and Harry Jones, who only have 1 year left on their contract. Sam Wiedemann too. Loman Lowell at pick 39, a player I've spoken about a lot on this channel. Really exciting player to watch. He bases his game off CJ Jath from Hawthorn. He loves to tuck the ball under his wing and go for a run. He breaks lines through sheer pace. He loves to take players on. Not the best kick in the world, but he is such a competitor. It's great to draft players like this who can light it up from back 50. We haven't had players like that for a while. Sard and McKenna left a big hole in our list. Hind is good for his price, but he's been serviceable. But Lowell does have the potential to be a really great rebounding defender, one who can poke holes in teams' defensive structures through sheer pace. We should all be very excited for him. There is a reason I've spoken so much about him this year. He is just a treat of a player. And finally, possibly the most puzzling selection, Archie Roberts, All-Australian halfback flanker. He somehow slid down to pick 54. We traded up to get him. I never spoke about this guy because I didn't think we would have access to him at pick 31. I thought he was gone by pick 25, but we are very lucky here. He's another rebounding defender, different to Lowell. He is still pretty pacey, but it's his ball skills I rate the most. He is lethal on his left boot. He's a terrific kick out of defense. He picks targets out with ease. He is great moving down the field. He often finds himself involved on the scoreboard, not personally, but he sets up play for attacking players. He attacks from defense, and I think he's just really mature option for us as well. If he is as good as I and many think he could be, I reckon he could have 150 or 200 games in him. Keep in mind, I thought he was going early in the 20s. So did Cal Toomey, who knows the draft better than anyone in the world. We both thought he was the second or third best general defender in the crop. He was all Australian for a reason. We got an absolute steal of a player here. We then went to the rookie draft with one selection and used it on Sandringham Dragons ruckman Vigo Vicentini, a player I've highlighted on the channel before in a draft bargain video. He's a big, strong body, very raw, very underdone, but many believe he has upside. I've seen him play a decent amount. He has a lot to work on. He won't be playing AFL footy anytime soon, but that's often the case with rucks. They take almost half a decade to come good. Hopefully he learns under Todd Goldstein, who is one of the best hit-out rucks of all time. Good guy to learn under. It's a great experience for the young man. I hope he goes well at his new club. Looking at our additions overall, you got to be happy. Nate Caddy is great. Never thought we would have access to him. I'm thrilled with that, and that meant we could look at prospect players in other positions. We didn't have to risk it on getting a key forward later in the draft like Logan Morris or Luke Lloyd. We got our best available key forward because Jed Walter was never available. So best available forward in the draft comes to us, and it means we can focus on other areas like defense, which we needed to do. We got two really promising young defenders, Roberts and Lawal, both expected to go in the top 40, both almost outside of it. Very different players as well. We didn't just grab two of the same player. We got some really good differences between the two, which I like. And the great thing about this off-season, I don't think many clubs can say this, we have genuinely bolstered every zone. You look at our defense, including the trade period. Ben Mackay, Lamont Lawal, Archie Roberts onto the midfield, Xavier Dersma, Todd Goldstein, Vigo Vicentini for the future maybe. Forward line, Nate Caddy, Jade Gresham. We've done so well to improve our list as a whole. We got rid of a lot of players for a reason. I think a few of us now feel silly for wanting Voss and Snelling to stay because we have players much better than them now. Imagine if we kept Voss and missed out on Caddy or missed out on Gresham to keep Snelling instead. Dodoro in his last season has well and truly improved our list both through the trade period, the free agency period, and the draft. He's done it across the board. In fact, I think this might be, as a club or as a whole, his best off-season ever. You look at how much talent has come in. We brought in 4 first-team players through the trade period and still got a top 10 draftee as well. That's incredible. This is just a draft video and I have to grade our draft. Well, I don't have to, but I'm going to grade our draft. I think many were wanting a bit more variety. I always knew we were going to use only 3 picks in the national draft. It's why I only did the mock draft up to our 3rd pick. And with 3 picks, you can't really get variety as much. I don't mind throwing eggs in the same basket like we did for our general defense. If I had to critique something, I don't even know what I'd critique, to be honest. I think for what we had, we absolutely nailed it. I can't really think of anything we could have done any better. In hindsight, well, hindsight may obviously make me look silly here. You never know with hindsight. Scott Gumbleton was hyped at pick 2, and look what happened to him. In 5 years, we may be talked about for the Nate Caddy trade and how much we failed from it. It's the beauty of the draft. You never really know until careers are done. But for now, I have to give us a high grade. I'm actually more hyped after the draft than the trade period. I think I gave us an A- for the trade period, so I'm going to give us an A for the draft. Caddy is ideal. Lawal I always wanted. Roberts, that's a huge bonus. It's really rare to have a group of 60 odd players at the draft and get the 2 that you really wanted from it. We have to realize that I've talked about Caddy and Lawal a lot on this channel for a reason. I really liked both of them, and we got both of them. That is huge, and I never thought we'd have access to Roberts, and we got him too. It's a great draft, A for Dodoro and his crew. That is that though. The draft is done. I'm almost a bit sad, to be honest. I love the draft, and it's over, but I'll be looking forwards to 2024. We're going to be talking about that in no time, that draft. I guess now it's time really to look forward to 2024, the season. Hopefully we start to get less keen for trade periods and draft as fans in the coming years and get our act together as a club with these new additions. But cheers for watching, guys. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new, and as always, go Bombers.